Ever since the introduction of skins in 2013, Counter-Strike has been a main hub for scammers because unlike other games, skins actually have a real-world value associated with them. Meaning you can theoretically sell any skin for real-world cash or crypto, something that was unheard of at the time. Which unfortunately only benefits the scammers because with everything being so new, their methods were also so foreign. But for the most part, these scams consisted of trying to trick an active user, whether it be through something as simple as a phishing link or something as complex as an API scam. Regardless, the main method was always deception, but there was one person that had a scheme so insane that they didn't even need to contact the individual they were trying to scam. This is the story of Counter-Strike's $100 million scam. The main suspect of this hack is still unidentified, but his main goal was a lot different from your average scammer. You see, the average scammer usually tries to target newer players in an attempt to take advantage of their ignorance, but this scammer wanted nothing to do with that, and instead wanted to target the most prolific inventories in the whole entire scene, which he knew would be difficult because these types of players usually have their accounts on full lockdown at all times, and are usually insanely knowledgeable of every scam method. So he knew he would have to come at this from a very different angle. He needed someone to help him, and that someone was a person on the inside with direct access to highly sensitive Steam information. Unfortunately, we have no idea how he acquired a mole within Steam support, but the most common theory is that the mole may have been an existing friend or family member. Regardless, the information the scammer now had access to made him virtually unstoppable. He could literally log into any person's Steam account and trade away all of their skins. But there was still one issue. If he hacked into every expensive inventory he could find, people would notice almost instantly and he would be forced to stop, get caught, or most likely both. However, with the help of his contact, he had access to another piece of crucial information. He could identify which accounts were inactive, which at first glance doesn't seem that helpful, but considering inactive accounts had a higher likelihood of not noticing their items getting stolen, these people were the perfect victims. So the plan was incredibly simple. Find accounts with high value items, contact his Steam support contact to identify if they were inactive, and if they were, proceed to get the account's login information. And just like that, our scammer now had full access to do whatever he wanted with these high value inventories. But after getting access to these accounts, what the scammer would do was, again, simple but genius. He would simply trade out these skins to one of his many burner accounts and then contact very popular traders like Zipple to advertise or even sell these now stolen skins. He would convince them by saying something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm an OG trader who just got back into CSGO and need help selling these now very expensive items." And of course, just wanting to help, they would agree to advertise the scammer's item, not knowing that they were actually helping a scammer cash out as quickly as possible. For example, one of the first victims of the scam was an account named Taka Minami, who had a dormant CSGO account that contained tens of thousands of dollars worth of skins. But randomly, all the items were traded out to an unnamed account, and within the exact same day was traded over to Zipple to entertain offers on the stolen items. This exact same process would happen over and over again, and the worst part about all of this was the fact that nobody had any clue. Because since the accounts were dormant, the people they were stealing from had no idea, and even in the case that they did notice, the scammer would delete all of his burner accounts directly after cashing out the items, making it impossible to track him. In fact, the only evidence we have of an active account used by the scammer was from a stream back in 2022 by Anomaly where he would stream a lot of his trade offers. And one of these offers came from the scammer himself, which contained a factory new Karambit Emerald and an unapplied Dignitas Cato 14 Hollow, which if you didn't know equal about a total of $50,000 for just those two items, which just puts into perspective how much money this individual was making. But by the time this account was spotted on Anomaly's stream, it was already too late and the account had been deleted. The scammer was practically invincible at this point and continued to steal millions of dollars worth of skins with no repercussions. This video is sponsored by skinvault.gg, which is the best trading site that makes upgrading your skins as easy as possible. Literally all you have to do is sign into your Steam account, add your trade link, and then select all the skins you don't want anymore to get a brand new one from their huge catalog of skins. They also offer an instant selling feature for people who want a quick, easy, and safe way to cash out their inventories with the lowest possible fees on the whole entire market. So make sure to use code nilloc to receive a free $10 bonus on your first trade as well as a 35% deposit bonus. Skin Vault is unironically the best. One day, the scammer noticed something odd. Right as he was notified of the next dormant account he could target, he realized this account had recently traded out all of their items right before he could do it himself. Initially, he thought it was just a coincidence, but as time went on, this exact same thing would happen over and over again, almost as if other people had the same information he had. And that's when he realized there were multiple moles within Steam support. So now, this whole process was becoming a race between who could scam the fastest, which in turn started an internal war between these scammers, to the point where if one scammer stole an account, a different scammer would then get their Steam support insider to ban that account so the original scammer couldn't trade the items from the account. Just total degeneracy. But this went on for so long that it got to a point where finding these dormant accounts was becoming extremely difficult. Coincidentally, one of the most valuable inventories in the whole entire game had finally gone dormant, so everyone shifted their focus onto a player by the name of HFB, who had an inventory worth over $2 million. This was going to be the biggest scam in Counter-Strike history, if it was successful, that is. But to be honest, with the method they were using, it didn't really matter how expensive someone's inventory was. So just like they did with every other account, they got in and successfully traded all of the skins out of HFB's account. But during this whole process, they forgot about one of their key rules in this scam, which was to keep a low profile. After all, that was why they were targeting dormant accounts in the first place, and even though this was technically a dormant account at the time, it was still Counter-Strike's most expensive inventory, so of course people noticed instantly when they performed this scam. In fact, so many people noticed that it even caught Steam's attention, and Steam actually returned all of the items back into HFB's account. So for the first time, the scam had failed. More importantly though was the fact that Steam was now aware of this scam, and from this point forward, the Steam support scams stopped entirely. Unfortunately, we have no idea why. They could have been punished by Valve, or they could have just taken their already massive profits and stopped entirely out of fear of eventually getting caught. But regardless, this scam went on for years and has been approximated to have stolen over $10 to $100 million worth of skins. And the scary part is, it could happen all over again as long as someone has the right connections. But with that being said, make sure to stay safe out there, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.